History. History is more than just the things that happened a long, long time ago. History is not just a historical marker or events in a book. History was once today. We mark the passage of our time and call it history. History is here. History is all around us, and history impacts what we are and all of our lives. As an engineer, I've always sensed a connection to history. And reflecting on the work that I do, I feel my footsteps following those who marched along the same paths. History is my trail. In mid-2017, the Northwestern Water and Sewer District decided it was time to replace the aging Willowbend Pump Station. Little did I know back in May of 2017 that this project would take me on a 6-year journey through the history of not just this isolated site in northern Wood County, but the entire Ohio region, and ultimately the birth of the United States as we know it today. Willowbend Pump Station is located in northern Wood County, Ohio, adjacent to the Maumee River. The original station was constructed in 1975, shortly after the Lucas County Wastewater Treatment Plant opened in 1973. The construction of the Lucas County Wastewater Treatment Plant and the newly available sewage treatment spurred an explosion of development on the west side of Perrysburg and on the south side of the Maumee River in Wood County. These engineers in the 1970s were just the latest group planning to use this location to cross the Maumee River. The area near Willowbend Pump Station along the Maumee River has been a regional crossroads for a long time, dating back to the earliest habitation by prehistoric peoples around 12,000 to 11,000 BCE. These early inhabitants were semi-nomadic, following the seasons, fishing in the spring, gathering nuts in the fall, and hunting game in the winter and spring. As the glaciers receded and the climate evolved into the woodlands we recognize as Ohio today, more natives settled into permanent villages, many located along the Maumee River. With the fordable section of the river, this area was an important crossroads of overland travel in the region. The Maumee River was an essential native transportation and trade route from Lake Erie deep into the Midwest. By canoe, natives traveled to places like Fort Wayne, Defiance, and as far south as Findlay, Lima, and Wapakoneta. The first recorded European explorers in the region were the French Jesuit monks, who came in the 17th century. Their contact with native peoples spurred trade with the French, who established a fort in Detroit. The Ottawa Indians also settled along the Maumee River, using the crossing near our project site to travel to and from Detroit, trading furs for rifles and other manufactured goods. The French established themselves in the area. In fact, the land along the river was subdivided in long, narrow river tracts in the French method, and these tracts are still property boundaries today. But the other colonial power of the 18th century, Britain, realized the valuable resources of the Ohio region, and the inevitable England versus France power struggle ensued, the French and Indian War. Hey, England didn't want the French Johnnies to get all the riches. Control of the Ohio region was key to both countries' colonial ambitions of world domination. In 1763, England prohibited colonists from settling in the Ohio region. But we all know that no one was listening to King George III in the colonies. Colonists moved in droves, and the natives were just not having it. A Treaty of Paris in 1783 ended the American Revolution, and the Ohio region officially became part of the newly formed United States. However, the treaty did nothing for the natives in the Maumee Valley, opening up the area to more settlement as lands in Ohio were ceded as concessions to those who lost property in the war and to pay soldiers who fought in the Revolution. Either way, boundary lines on a map were hard to enforce, and the British actively continued to support the native resistance against American settlers. In 1793, the British constructed Fort Miami downstream of the Maumee Rapids. They encouraged natives to attack Americans and provided weapons and paid for scalps. After several defeats, native forces under Little Turtle and Blue Jacket amassed for a final battle in the Ohio region. That battle was set to take place on the north side of the Maumee River. The showdown was about to go down on Presque Isle Hill, adjacent to the Maumee Rapids. On August 20th, 1794, Revolutionary War vet Mad Anthony Wayne's forces confronted the natives in the Battle of Fallen Timbers near Presque Isle Hill. Wayne's mounted dragoons handily defeated the natives. As native chief Turkeyfoot mounted a rock to rally the natives, he was shot and killed. That rock was located right along our project until it was relocated in the 1950s to its current location at the Battle Monument. Turkeyfoot's death killed the natives' morale, and the natives retreated to Fort Miami. Now, what about the Brits? They encouraged the natives to fight, but didn't engage. As the natives retreated to Fort Miami, the Brits locked the gates. Gotta love the Brits. The native defeat ended native resistance to American settlement in Ohio, and the 1795 Treaty of Greenville formally opened most of Ohio for settlement. A young brave fighting at the Battle of Fallen Timbers would be steeled against the Americans. Tecumseh would later remember this battle as motivation for future conflicts he led against the Americans during the War of 1812. Speaking of the War of 1812, yep, we're going to battle the Brits again. History returned to the Maumee Rapids during the War of 1812. General Hull's army camped on the Maumee River's south side near our project on their march from Dayton before fording the river at the rapids on their way to secure Detroit. And in 1813, the Americans constructed Fort Meigs to defend the rapids. Kentucky reinforcing troops headed to Fort Meigs likely forded the river right here to stop the British invasion from Canada. After the War of 1812 ended, things got peaceful in the Maumee Rapids region. Peace means the energy to focus on other things. The cities of Maumee and Perrysburg grew up at the edge of the navigable portions of the Maumee River, and as the cities grew, so did their need for industry that was initially powered by water. The fast-flowing and steep section of the Maumee River made it a site suitable for the construction of a hydraulic canal. Such a canal was constructed in 1850 with water taken off the river just upstream from our project and drained into Perrysburg to power mills and water wheels. Sadly, the hydraulic canal was only used until 1895 as the Ohio Canal system withered away. Our project to construct a new force main and pump station at Willowbend took 4 years to design and another 2 years to construct. A mere blip along the timeline here at the Maumee Rapids. The construction of the project started in January of 2022, working from the Lucas County wastewater treatment plant back to the pump station, and by early 2023, the Willowbend Pump Station was operational, marking the culmination of nearly 6 years of planning, design, and construction. The replacement of the Willowbend Pump Station and force main was a test of patience and commitment to constructing the right project. A massive team of planners, designers, engineers, contractors, and private citizens all played a part in constructing something truly monumental. The collection and treatment of sewage is what makes our civilization possible. A civilization 14,000 years in the making at the rapids of the Maumee. Our races united by a long-forgotten history and a future we will face together. I am Theodore Bennett, and I share this message so that our past will always be remembered, for in those memories we live on.